today's episode, we have Anke Schaubrenner, singer-songwriter. Welcome here in the show. Anke Schaubrenner sings from the soul, writes from the wound, and lives from the fire within. Her story is a map of magic, music, and survival, and I'm very happy to welcome her in the show. Welcome, Anke.
So happy to be here. Good morning.
Anke, you made me a gift with the song you selected. It's a song I'm just singing in my singing lessons, and True Colors is so deep, to be honest, from my point of view. This line, but I see your true colors shining through, this is just more than a song. It's an anthem of radical acceptance and unconditional love in a world that often tells us to hide, to shrink, or to filter what we are. This line cuts through with gentle power, and it acknowledges for me the layers we wear to protect ourselves, but reminds us with deep compassion that our essence is seen, valued, and beautiful as it is, and we don't need to hide and be somebody else and always try to look, who could I be better and what is a neighbor doing. So thank you so much. I think the song became also really a kind of a magical song because especially I think the queer communities took it also for saying, hey, true colors, take the rainbow colors. So it is not the yellow, it is not the red, which is fine. It is every facet of color is right?
Incredible the way you describe it. Thank you, because everything is said, And what I also love about this woman is the child that really comes out through the voice.
Yeah.
So she's like a channel, and no matter how wise and old she will get, she will always be the one who has this child inside of her and who is really representing everything that you just said. Thank you for saying this. Describes it perfectly.
Thank you so much, Anke. I mean, when I hear your name, I think about fire. It's in your name, burning Brennen, no German. But you're a woman which, for me, you are. When I saw you first, you are a woman woven from contrast. On the one hand, you have the softness and steel. You have the shadow and shine. You have the breath and battle. And I think maybe that has something to do also where you come from a father with a bohemian village and mother who seemed to have washed ashore from myth and raised among Huguenots, matriarchs who smoked cigars, made wedding soup, and whispered to ghosts. It came so many stories to me when I read also about this poetic text you wrote me. And from an early age on, you saw the world in colors most others couldn't. And not only that, you have the gift with your wonderful voice. And I mean, I know when you ask a lawyer and ask him to explain something, he gets really annoyed when you ask singer. But if you want to explain something with your voice, I'm more than happy. But I wouldn't force it because I know it's something. If it fits, it fits. And I mean, your first microphone was a milk can. You staged the Sunday table, and you sang to owns in the meadows, and wrote down strange wild happenings with a butcher's pencil. So long before you know what storytelling meant, you survived what was almost unsurvivable illness, heartbreak, the edge of death, and you came back with a deep voice, otherwise forged fire and silence, ready to sing again. And I mean, reading your story from Berlin's underground, when we take this time of Falco and Simply Red, I mean, Berlin was different than today. Today is Berlin international, yes, and on fire, yes. But I think sometimes it's a bit darker in the facets of poverty. In the past, it was very dark in the facets of music and art and expression. And you went to global stages, from mystical ceremonies in the Amazon to soul searching and hotel rooms and haunted mansions. You never stopped listening to the music between the words, and you are today not searching anymore. You're giving through sound, through story, and through your spirit.
Yes, when you just mentioned that I was a little girl standing on that Sunday table and singing my song, even when you are like, I was like 5 years old when I started to find out that my voice is a channel.
Mm.
And of course, when I look at my biography, I always see it like in little movie pictures, like on a big screen. And what I love is really to open myself like a book and say, it's incredible when you're allowed to do things with a creative background. It doesn't matter. I mean, I started dancing. I started to work with people from Senegal, from New York, and even from Berlin. And I was allowed to do what I want to do. And this is something that I really created in my retreats, that I always speak the truth about myself, but I always invite other people to really open up this thing. Walk on, go on your little stage and just open up your channel. And it's so easy to do that, but I always must say most, I mean, 99% of the people that I'm working with, they say, well, I'm so absolutely full of a fear to sing. But on the other hand, I mean, I cannot change childhoods from people, but I must say sometimes we just do a little thing. It comes, out of my big balloon of possibilities. I always take the hand of the people and walk on a stage, even if it's just with closed eyes, because it's so
Wow.
good. You have find somebody who allows you to do what you have to do. And sometimes it's
Mm.
even, if you just mentioned the lawyers, I'm working with lawyers from people, who are really in a way stiff and not open
Yeah.
voice channel. But then we play around. I say, just sing what you have to say, even if you do it very low. This morning was a bad day. I just looked outside my window. It was raining. It felt like la la la. So
Great.
it's just like the magic of voice is allow yourself to open your channel.
Yeah.
And I'm like a doula. I'm like a creative doula to make this happen.
That's a great description. And I think on one hand, it says so much about you with your mission for the world. But on the other hand, you have so much more deepness in yourself. And I mean, it's not that this is the first question I wanted to ask you, but it drives me to the question you said also children. And I adore your work with children. It's not about, hey, look how great I am. It is about, hi, look how great you are. And this is what I love about you. I mean, I know some singer songwriter which are always putting themselves in the foreground for, yes, I have to be hired. And of course, this is something which is important. But I have the feeling that it's not that you don't need this, but it's about that you don't see this for you. You have a much bigger vision of things you move in the world. And there is no space left for these small kitty ditty things. Because I have the feeling that you know that these come to you, and that we often have to be just patient about seeing our environment and seeing where we connect the dots, not just shouting out loud into the forest and hoping that somewhere from somewhere comes an echo.
Yes, yes, yes. I always think, oh no, I never think. I always feel that even when you start your day, you have to have a little fantasy like the world you're in is a circus tent of possibilities, million of possibilities. And then I know I mean, everything about inner child work and all the retreats and all the learnings that we have to do in our age about like being more free, opening up. It's not easy to say hello to the inner child, even for me, where, I mean, we have a lot of scars. But I must say, the circus tent is always open. If you're flying high, on the rope, or if you're a clown, or if you are the horse who doesn't want to do the work in the circus tent for the people. It's just a matter of how you work with your fantasies and how can I say, you just mentioned that, yeah, you know, the star who wants to be with children, at least wants to sing something to them. But this is, for me, it was not a question. I never really questioned if it's important, if I'm a star, if I'm well known, or if I'm just me. I
Mm-hmm.
think the thing with children is they are so completely open that
Mm-hmm.
when you do your job good, yeah, then they accept you and then they want to work with you. It's so easy. It's so easy. It's not like working with dogs, you know, or not like working with horses. The children look at you and you have to make a good job. Otherwise, they just, you know, turn away and say, yeah, what's next? Let's do some sports. So this is, yeah, I'm quite sure that I must say this really, this is important for me. Everything that is easy for me to do is the
Mm-hmm.
best for me in my life. And it's easy to sing for me, night and day, all the time. And children, you can
Mm-hmm.
switch them on like a flame, you know, and I love this work.
Yeah, it's great how you describe it. And I mean, I wish that sooner or later I can take part at one of these sessions you do with kids, because yeah, listening to you made me feeling these frequencies and this power, but also on the other hand, the softness which binds and the sensitivity. I'm really looking forward to getting that. Um, Going back into your starts and your origins, your family, you described your mother as an enchanted mermaid. What was her magic and how did it shape your own? Maybe also about femininity. What is female? What is woman?
My mother had somebody who was making her dresses. So somebody was sewing the dresses. And when I grew up, the same with my grandmother, and all the women, the female side in my family showed me just natural, by a natural way of living, that it's good to have nice dresses, wear beautiful colors, and nice shoes. I mean, nice in a way of with a lot of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And the mermaid part in my mother was for me that she always told me, like, she was a storyteller and she was writing poems all the time that I remember for birthdays, for people in the neighborhoods. She was always writing and never ashamed to present.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she was a piano player, and all, I mean, the whole family, when in our family, when there was a fight, we were just like making music or singing it. It was not
Oh,
possible.
great.
And I'm still not good with finding words when I argue with people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better to make music and get some tones, you know, to get back into harmony. And my mother, Nicolina, yeah, I think femininity. So she was really into dresses and looking nice, and she was always just making a room with white, you know, like normal curtains or something. She could put her fantasy immediately into places that were like looking boring. So, and for me, she was this kind of person. I mean, she was also very, very sensitive. So when
Mm-hmm.
something was coming up, she was sensitive. And the sensitivity, instead of crying, she was playing piano. And this is how I grew up, with this kind of strange, I mean, for me, it was strange as a kid because it was
Mm-hmm.
different in school with the other kids. I found out that everything is possible. This is why I mentioned this circus tent, you know. And my mother, I must say, I really adored her because of her poetry, the way she
Mm-hmm.
wrote, and she took the people in front of her lens. And for me as a kid, I was really standing with an open mouth. She could read the heart vibes and the characters immediately. And so for me, yeah, she was somebody special.
Unbelievable. It sounds nice. And I get this story in front of my head. And we heard in the beginning a song by Cyndi Lauper, True Colors. What color was your childhood, Anke?
It was definitely, I would say, a creamy kind of champagne color. It was not heavy, it was not blue-green or
Mm-hmm.
something like this. I would love to say it was red, like orange red, but it wasn't. It was like also this champagne color because not transcendental, but in a way it was calm because I grew up most of the times my parents were really, really working people, and
Mm-hmm.
my sisters and brothers are much older. So I was the little one. And the color comes to my mind because it was full of adventures, yes, but also I was a lonesome child. I was
Mm-hmm.
most of the times alone. This is where my fantasy had a chance to grow up.
That
Yeah.
sounds great because being alone could feel also lonely, maybe for some. I hear often today from children, they said, I'm bored, I get boring, it's boring. But this insight and having this time alone for yourself and to have the time to growing the fantasy, this is unbelievable and nice. What you said. And when did you first realize you were seeing the world differently than others?
When I was alone at home, I was just like the age of 8 or 9 or not. So yeah, maybe 7 or 8. I was in the bathroom. I washed my hands, and in a way, I was like looking inside of the mirror. I faced myself, and then it was just like my unconscious mind started to talk to me, and I was quite shocked. I was a child, and it was like somebody was speaking to me. And this is like, on one hand, we could say it scared me to death. Somebody was talking to me in the mirror. It was like a horror movie. But then I was connecting my soul. I started to realize that I could not run away from, I mean, so this is my body, but something else is there.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that even in my childhood, when I was alone at home, there was these winter afternoons when you're a child and then it gets dark outside at 3 o'clock. And I connected my soul in a way of, it was like outside of my body connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I started to write in my little diary when I was 8, and I was talking to the person. So as a child, I did not realize how incredible, beautiful this is if you connect to your soul, because I'm not here once, I'm not this. Maybe I was here before, and I connected the people behind me, and my soul was definitely a channel.
Wow.
This was when, and even my voice, I was asking my mother when she came home, with all her presents. When she came home, she was always so beautiful. We hugged each other. And we were sitting there with this little afternoon tea, and I said, is this normal that I can talk to myself in another person? Am I here, or is this more Ankes on this planet? And she was like laughing so hard. And she says, of course, we've all been there. Look inside of your hands, we got lines. This
Mm-hmm.
shows so many roads of your personality. What do you think is this? And even in your feet, we got
Mm-hmm.
lines. And yeah, and this is when I started to write this down. And this is when it came up to a little theater piece in my school. Of course, I was exotic in the school because the other girls, they could not really get on my level. This is
Mm-hmm.
why I made art of it. You
Mm-hmm.
start to paint, to write, to sing, because then you're accepted. Then they want to be with you. And yeah.
You told me about your diary. Is it still existing?
No, the thing is, when they gave up the big house, it was always there was like a big, big, huge kind of, I don't know, it was like a bed where we had all these things from the childhood, and there was one day, and I'm the same now, when my parents said and my grandmother, it's time to leave the past. We have to get rid of it. I don't have nothing, nothing,
Oh,
not even a teddy bear. I
oh.
don't have like all things of my grandmother. I have a cup, some cups with a golden little ring. And this is all because we are more, and this is coming from my grandmother Rosa. I think we are people, we were like nomads. We want to be
Mm-hmm.
in
Free.
movement. We don't want to have a house with many things. Why? Why?
Mhm.
It makes a lot of stress.
Yes, it binds you also. It binds you to the to old things. And
Yes,
maybe you are carrying so much and you are fighting so much that the thing stays that it binds even a lot of your energy and
exactly.
in a negative way. Because you always think what could happen with this? Well, I'm not there. So you try to stay there to not leave it alone, right?
And as a musician and as an artist, I have to say and speak it out that it's good to not carry your past and your childhood on like it's heavy, heavy, heavy stuff on your suitcase. It's good to be open, let's open our wings. I mean, when we talk, I remember,
Yeah.
hey, that's enough.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We often try to take pictures of everything, try to make these photographies, put them in a book, and we forget about this that our best book is our brain, right? And our heart, to not forget about the special things in life. And have the smell maybe of the day, of the evening, and the nose and around you on your skin. And this is that what you can profitize from in the later one.
Yes, and
Um,
smell is the memory. I mean, the smell of my childhood is definitely vanilla. So vanilla was
mm,
always like, there was always some vanilla and some cinnamon. Even when my mother was making, when my grandmother was making the chicken on the Sunday,
mhm,
roasted good chicken, with a lot of lemons, but there was always cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla.
mhm.
So the smell is still here. And why should I carry all these pictures? For me, it's a good training. Even when we get older, it's very good training to work with like smells and
Mhm.
memories on a different creative level instead of carrying the stuff and walking into old houses where you feel sad.
Yes. I mean, it sounds really like a really beautiful, like a cake, your childhood, a soft but also profound cake with a lot of, yeah, with a lot of taste around it.
Yeah,
Um,
and there was a lot of cake bakery in our family, but of course, where there's light, there is shadow.
yeah,
The balance was also for my family. I must say that the female power was so strong that the man, the fathers, the grandfathers, I think, yeah, they were also full of energy, but the rule who was on the wheel in our family was the women,
that's
definitely.
good. I mean,
I
I,
don't know if that was good. I feel sorry for some reason for my father because
mhm,
when the women were in the house, I mean, he was a man, who could cook, and he always wanted to do something on it for Christmas. And I remember in the
mhm.
kitchen that when the women were ruling, he had to go outside. And when as a child, I felt so sorry. He wanted to show us at least, what
Ah,
he could do. And I remember we were down in the cellar room of the big house, and my father made some special cake, beautiful cake with some seeds. And
mhm,
he said it has to stay there for the whole night until Christmas comes. And he made it. And then at the end, he was so upset about this power in the kitchen that I was his little one. I'm a daddy girl. We were sitting in the cellar and eating the things with the fingers, and we had such a beautiful time. And he was talking to me like, storytelling. And yeah, and the shadow side of my childhood was maybe that, yeah, I think, yes, now that we talk about it, I missed a little bit this being all together when I came home from school. I felt
mhm,
really, really alone. And I remember one scene when we had this cage with these birds, these singing birds. My father had these birds before we had the cats. And then I came home. I was like, I wrote it down. I was 9. I made a song out of it. And
mhm.
then one bird was dead in
Oh,
this cage on the floor, and he was stiff. Nobody ever told me something about like dead people, dead animals. How do they look like? And I was standing in front of the cage, completely in shock. And that was what I meant with shadow side of my childhood. Nobody really gave me the entrance of what happens when something bad happens.
mhm.
I learned it by myself. So I learned very early to get used to situations in my emotional system to help myself. For that, it was good, but sometimes I really wish that there would be somebody who teach me.
I can imagine. But it's of course really big that you found your own way about that. And you found your own way in many cases. I mean, you had a near-death experience. How has this changed you? Because you were so deep with your soul and with your heart from so early. How has this helped you? How has this changed you and your soul?
How did that change my soul? Yes, because I was this little girl that I just mentioned standing in front of the bathroom mirror, talking to some spirits. And it was clear for me that there was something going on that's not only me, like a body and two eyes, you know. And my father was my hero again, because when I got sick, I was out of sadness, out of heavy sadness that my first boyfriend left me. I got so sick, and really nobody, no doctor could really find out what it was. And my father took me after 3 months on his shoulders and went down the stairs straight to the hospital. And I had this terrible tuberculosis.
Mhm.
I was not coughing, it was just an inner tuberculosis, but that was really, really eating my meat, you know. And so I felt terrible. And then I was in that hospital. I could not talk to nobody because then you're in isolation, of course. And then I remember when this happened, I was there for more than 1 year, you know. When this happened with the near-death experience, it was like it. I was never the person who gave up on life, never. I knew there was a plan. But the moment when I fainted on that bed and I knew that I cannot breathe and they would not come quickly enough with this oxygen,
Mhm.
um, I felt like, okay, I just let it go. And then after this whole situation, I could more look at myself with different eyes and even more decide where I want to go, which path is good for me. And this happened that in the hospital, I went to this dark little room. There was a piano. I'm coming from the guitar, not from the piano, but I was playing the piano. And then the sound of the piano was really feeding me with so many new ideas. And the
Mhm.
near-death experience, it was only like 4 or 5 minutes. I remember this is what they told me. I saw my father, and I was completely clear and cool and relaxed in that situation. But after that, I was better in making decisions.
Mm.
Better to making, I knew exactly when I opened my eyes on that bed, I knew I will give my voice to this world. And I
Mhm.
want to go, I was living on a small village. I want to go to the big city and spread my light.
Wow. For this time, a big decision. And maybe also the decision which formed you until today, and your strong will combined with your inner sensitivity. I think that makes always a difference, right? And you have so much in you. And in addition, you learned also from shamans. What did you learn from shamans that shaped your way of being?
I would not say shaped. I would say we have all our own shaman inside of us, definitely. He was just kissing this awake, you know. This guy, when I was on tour, on world tour, with a big hit, with Falco that time, we toured in Japan and the States, everywhere. And one day I was so homesick. Even, I mean, these hotel rooms and this long things of plane, you know, stage, hotel room, plane, stage, hotel room. And then one night I got so sick and it's always this part. So when you have, this is what the doctors said me that time when I got sick, they say, when your part of your lungs are getting sick, you miss something, you're sad. And in that night, I was totally sad, and I started, you know, that I felt I get something, some illness. And in the morning at 6 o'clock, I worked with the shaman because we had a psychotherapist on tour, we had a shaman on tour, we had a dentist,
Wow.
a doctor, and so on. We were lucky to have our team, our little helpers. And yeah, and then the tour management called him because I had to be on stage that night with my girlfriend Jocelyn. And we went into this hotel room upstairs near to the roof. And he really gave me the lesson for my life. He said, everything you do from now on is let your spirit talk and start to breathe. And this is after that, I mean, he gave me so much. I mean, this was like a month he was with us on tour, and he gave me such a wisdom what it makes to breathe in the right way. You can even meet your grandmother when you are breathing fine. And for my health, it changed totally, absolutely everything.
Wow. I have so many questions not asked yet, and there's so much to ask, and we definitely need to have a second talk. Um, Let me ask you a final question. I mean, we talked so much about spirit. We talked about spirituality. In this world of today, you are also a big shot. You got just in Cannes an award, and it's just a start for a big project from you. And with your Helele song, for example, you touched me that much that I couldn't sleep because I was so sensitive. Maybe you want to say just a very few sentences because we're running otherwise out of time, but we have to give this to the listeners, I think.
Yeah. For me, I wrote this song Helelele in like 5 minutes because I was working with a lot of dancers. And now we are trying to find a language between the body language, the dance, and the voice. And I want to meet more people, artists, women, but also men, to go on stages without a hit or a tour stress or a reason. We should meet more. I'm a community person. I'm like a horse. I need my people. I need my people. I wish that we could come together and plan a big, huge concert and spread out what our body means, what our body wants, needs, and combine it with a beautiful singing.
I would be happy to be part of that.
Please, I invite you. Let's do it. Let's come together.
Great. Thank you so much, Anke. Let's stay in contact and let's not only stay in contact, but do together everything what we can do together to make the world a better, more frequency, more singing place. And I will contact you afterwards. And thank you so much for giving us here so much from that what you and what makes you this really rich and rich soul. And I hope to see you very soon. We will also or give the information to the listeners about everything what they should know. So if you have anything, just give us the links, then we will spread that.
Thank you so much, Annabelle. And have a beautiful day, and let's meet.
Yes, definitely.